Aries, hello, and welcome to your Spring 2023 Shapeshift reading. We're looking at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shapeshift looks and feels like for the spring season. I'm Andy, I'm your reader, and this season I'm joined by the Energy Archaeology Oracle by Ashley Stinson. I'm really excited by this deck as a former body worker because it focuses on the skeletal system, the bones, and the energy that we carry in our bones, and what meaning we can make from our skeletal system. And I chose this deck because I got this image when I was thinking about the spring of like bones waking up. Bones make me think of the winter season, you know, when things are dead. They are buried, they are frozen, stiff as a bone. And now it's the spring, Aries. It's your season. Things are beginning to creak back to life and awaken. And so let's see what shapeshift is happening in your bones this spring. Okay, let's go. Shapeshift for Aries here in 2023. Spring 2023. Okay. So we're already starting off here. We have the first finger and the first toe. The bones of the first finger and the first toe. And the key word in the Energy Archaeology Oracle here is worthy. And we see this beautiful bear sleeping at the mouth of the cave with the sun beginning to shine in. So with this image, I immediately get the sense that the bear is waking up after that winter hibernation, because they're getting the cue, the signal from the sun. And so their natural rhythms are going to start to adjust, maybe awaken. Interesting. First finger, first toe. I'm getting this image of like pointing to what is worthy, deciding or making a judgment on that is worthy, that is not worthy, this is worthy. And so we have worthiness. Okay, let's see where this continues to go. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Oh. Okay. We have a catalyst, it says, as the key word for the floating ribs. And so the floating ribs in particular are your last two ribs in your rib cage that aren't, you can see here. They're just sort of floating in place. They're these ribs that are coming off of the spine here, and they're lit up at the base of the rib cage in this image. Catalyst. It almost looks like a fire starting at the base of something. And because we're seeing like the energy as connective tissue almost, there's something here with the catalyst at the base of these floating ribs, which gives me an image of like flexibility. The catalyst affecting or awakening the rest of the rib cage. And then we have wisdom, the teeth. Big time Saturn energy here with the teeth. I'm always thinking about Saturn when I think of teeth, and especially with the keyword wisdom. You know, Saturn is that like bigger parental energy for us in the zodiac, in the planets rather. It makes me think of your winter shift reading, history held. the history, the ancestry that we inherit, and the things that we hold in our very bones as a result of that inheritance. And so I'm just wondering like what came up for you over the winter season in terms of where you've come from and how you hold what you have inherited through your lineage, but also like socially. And last season's reading talked about like you get to choose how you move through the world and what you hold onto in your bones and what you let go of, and how that changes, like what you hold in you from where you've come from changes how you move in the world. So if you can choose what of that you get to release so that you can move a little more freely with a little less density or heaviness, like deciding what of your history is yours to hold and what you can release. And I'm just wondering what that has to do with worthiness, with your sense of self-worth, or what you feel you are worthy of out in the world. Okay, so your shape shift here, let's look at this together. I'm not really seeing this as like shifting out of worthiness into wisdom. It's not that clear cut. It's more like you are having some sort of shift regarding your sense of worthiness or worth. And there is a catalyst in the center of that that seems to be awakening this theme for you this spring. The catalyst for worthy wisdom. You know what I mean? And let's talk about the progression of this in the body. If the catalyst at the center starts from the lower ribs, yeah, maybe you want to do this with me. Just like place your hands on the lowest ribs you can possibly feel. It'll be a lot lower than you imagine. It'll be almost like all the way down at your hip bones. And it immediately makes you want to take a really deep breath. So maybe you want to do that with me. So I'm already feeling this connection between the way the breath comes in, passes over my teeth, okay, wisdom, passes over my teeth and fills my entire center, my entire rib cage all the way to the bottom. And you can feel that bottom lift. So I'm wondering if the catalyst is the breath. And now I'm thinking about the first breath you take when you wake up from hibernation, when you wake up from a long sleep. Passing over the teeth, feel that happen. Filling those floating ribs all the way at the bottom, and feel how movable they are, how like shockingly flexible. By the way, you'll really be able to key into those two floating ribs specifically where your thumbs are here in the back. They're you know, the rib cage sort of cascades down, and then the floating ribs are like back here. Over top of your kidneys. I'm thinking about how, like, in traditional Chinese medicine, the and I'm not a practitioner, so this is going to be wildly oversimplified, but it's said that, like, the kidneys hold your Jing. The Jing is like this, the energy levels you inherit, that you, like, come into this world with, this reserve. You know, the kidneys, like, your reserves, your energy reserves, which can be why when you're super, super stressed, that's the kidney adrenals. That's how it shows up. Okay, all of these interesting body things we're thinking about here. In terms of history held in the kidneys, right? In this area. And then catalyst makes me think of, like, a change in energy level, some sort of, like, combustion or a fire ignition. I mean, we are in Aries season this spring here, starting on the equinox. So yeah, end of March, boom. This is a catalyst for you, Aries. It's your season. You're having your solar return. Happy birthday. And when that happens, something awakens. That fire at the bottom of your rib cage, a kidney fire or something like this. And again, it has to do with, like, what you have inherited and how you have held the energy of what you have inherited. And maybe, like, over the course of the winter season, really turning that into wisdom, like the wisdom in what you have inherited, and specifically how you carry that forward out in the world. Like, now I'm getting these images of, like, you know, they say that your teeth are largely, like, something you can't help. It's just, like, the condition of your teeth is based on your parents, your parentage, your genetics. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, but you can care for what you have. You know, it's like your teeth, this is the hand you've been dealt. Maybe you've got really soft teeth and you end up with a lot of cavities, and you're just prone to that because of your genetics. But okay, how can you care for the teeth, the bones, the inheritance that you've been dealt? And so there's some sort of revelation here, some sort of wisdom coming through in that area that is, again, like, helping to awaken something in you regarding worthiness or self-worth, or, like, what you believe you are worth or what you value. Maybe it's not even self-worth. Maybe it's, like, what you see as worthy in the world. Okay, these are all things that I'm thinking about here. Oh, Venus is going to be in your second house during Aries season, right? Venus in, only for Aries risings. But Venus is going to be in Taurus. Okay, in April. No, in March. And Venus makes me think of worthiness, value. Inherent value, and then things we find valuable or deem valuable, worthy. Okay, all things we're thinking about here. I love to go to the guidebooks because, you know, the creator of this deck has so much to say about it. And I think we really miss out when we lose this perspective. So we're going to read all of these in the full reading, but for as we end this part here on YouTube, let's look at worthy. You know, this seems to be, like, the really big theme. This guidebook's awesome, by the way. I really love this deck. Okay, let's read a little something here. When you believe you are worthy, it ripples out from you, echoes across the land, and restores your energy to wholeness. Okay. We were already talking about the ripple effect here. So if, like, this theme of worthiness is somehow, look at the sun shining through, and suddenly, like, the beams are hitting the bear and awakening them, it seems like there's the beams here, that fire, that catalyst at the bottom, having this ripple effect all the way up the rib cage. And it just feels like you get more room to breathe. Having a ripple effect. I mean, that's exactly what this looks like. This catalyst of, you know, some sort of revelation around your worthiness is having, or validation of your worthiness is having a ripple effect all the way up the rib cage. Okay, what else do I want to say about this? Well, I really like this deck because it goes into the anatomy a little bit, but it talks about like these bones and how they're, the energy of them as determined by Ashley Stinson has like attunes you to how you feel about your worth. And since we have this like all the way, you know, the extremities of the first finger, all the way to this like really core floating ribs, there's some sort of connection here for you, Aries, where it's like that catalyst for that worthiness is like the belief all the way down in the core, and then the ripple effect is all the way up the ribs and then out all the way to the very like distal, your distal reaches, the effect that you can have on the world, even at an arm's length. Like, it's a really powerful channel that we're looking at here, and we should include the teeth in that. Okay, fine. What else do I want to say? The world around you and the stories you've created about your experiences of this world influence your alignment to worth and worthiness. You have thoughts, feelings, and opinions about what or who is worthy, how worth relates to value, which bodies are seen as worthy, and how all of these things are internalized and reflected in the world around you. Rest in your worthiness. Interesting that I was like feeling an awaken to your worthiness, and now Ashley's giving us rest in your worthiness. Set down the patterns and programs that have you chasing worth like it's not already something inherent in your bones. You do not have to prove your worth or value to anyone, not even yourself. Prove, okay? You don't have to prove it. The catalyst is this like being able to feel it as inherent. Because sometimes I think like the first finger would want to prove, like make a judgment about and then prove, because it feels so external. Whereas the catalyst here in the core of your being is much more internal. It's closer to the center. So, okay, the awakening or the catalyst, the revelation is more internal. It's from the inside out is what I'm trying to say. I am worthy because I am. And when you feel and believe this deep inside, it has no other possibility than to ripple out from you, echoing across the land and rearranging your life to one of worthiness and wholeness. And some questions, some prompts for you, if you want to do some journaling that she offers, are how and where do I feel the energy of worthiness in my body? You know, so like we've given you some areas to think about here in this reading, but like now you get to take this and sort of sit on your own and be like, okay, where do I feel a sense of worth? Like when I think of worthiness, what area of my body just sort of like gives me a little ping? Interesting. Are there people my innate sense of worthiness increases around? Are there people my innate sense of worthiness decreases around? How do these people value themselves? Okay, that's something, I like that prompt. And what do I do to prove my worth or value to other people? And how would it feel to stop? Because I know my worth. Interesting. What do I do to prove what do you do to prove your worth, Aries? And how would it feel to stop? Yeah, okay, that's a real nice place to end this. I'm gonna take this further now into a full reading. We're gonna use Fifth Spirit Tarot. We're gonna use Octospaman. We're gonna clarify using these other decks and see if we can get a bigger picture of what specifically is going on for you this spring and how worthiness is a really key theme here. So if this is resonating with you so far and you want to take it all the way, you can find the full reading in The Shifting Space. This is an online community dedicated to investigating these shift readings season after season. So we band together and share our insights as the shifts unfold for us throughout the season. And we watch the shift readings, we rewatch the shift readings together. We reflect on how they're showing up on our lives periodically throughout the season. Okay, it's a whole like seasonal investigation over there. And if that sounds like something super supportive to you, or you just want to learn more about what that is, click the link in the description below and that will take you to a place where you can read about the shifting space and learn if it is the right space for you. And if it is, then I'll see you over there for the rest of this reading. Aries, happy birthday.